are two amazing Nevada women, and the first that I am pleased to introduce is Jill Derby.
Nobody has a challenge.
Let's hear it for Jill. I just want to say about Jill, you know that she came the closest in CD2 of anyone. You know she was chairman of the Board of Regents. The thing you don't know is right now she's serving on an advisory commission to the Secretary of Education, appointed there by Senator Reid, and she is telling Betsy DeVos what for.
Hello, Northern Nevada! Listen, this is our golden moment. This is our time. You know, Iowa and New Hampshire are old history now, and the eyes of the nation and the eyes of the world are on Nevada. Make no mistake about what is at stake in this election. Our republic, our democratic institutions that we thought were indestructible could never be and could never be undermined are being eroded by a pathetic, narcissistic, ignorant bully who ended up in the White House. And guess what? This is his last year there. Now listen, I know like me, you've been watching the news. You've probably been watching in disbelief and horror. Who would have thought that our democracy was so vulnerable? Who would have thought that the Justice Department would also have caved? Who would have dreamed that an unqualified, unprincipled, power-mad president in such a short time could trash our democratic institutions, our democratic norms, and our status in the world? You know what? There's a difference between a banana republic and the United States of America, and this mistake in the White House doesn't seem to know the difference. Well, we're going to do something about that. We know the difference, and we're going to rescue this floundering ship of state in November and get it right. But be crystal clear, the future of our republic is on the line, and we're not giving Donald Trump a second chance to take this country down further. Now, let me tell you something about Amy Klobuchar. You know they talk about Minnesota nice? Well, here's what I want you to know. She's Minnesota nice and tough. She has a commanding presence that can stand up to any bully on the other side. Remember this. Remember how she shamed Brett Kavanaugh? Do you remember that? Do you remember when he acted like a sniveling sixth grader and brutally, snotty-nosed, spoke back to her? Do you remember her cool and command? You know, and it occurs to me that somebody who's aspiring to be the commander-in-chief, we want to know she can be in command, and she was at that important, embarrassing moment. And you know what? She can be the commander-in-chief because we know that she's somebody that has what it takes. Senator Klobuchar doesn't only know that we need change, she knows how to make change happen. And if you doubt that, look at her record. Look at her record while she's been in the U.S. Senate. It's very impressive about what she's been able to do. The other thing that's so important is Amy's good on the issues, and she can help us win in November. She won't scare away crossover votes. We need to win. And her moderate stand, yes, you're right. We can't scare off the moderate people who will cross over. Her moderate stand will also help with down-ballot candidates in critical Senate races particularly. We have got to take back the Senate. It won't take. Amy Klobuchar can help us take back the Senate. Finally, let me say this. Where Amy Klobuchar runs, Amy Klobuchar wins. Check her record of winning in red districts and red states. You know, our republic cannot withstand the dismemberment of the democratic institutions that Donald Trump is orchestrating out of the White House. We need a candidate who can defeat Donald Trump and win in November. Senator Amy Klobuchar is a winner, a proven winner. So Nevada, this is our golden moment. We have a proven track record too of winning. We know how to elect winners. We know how to elect women winners. Record. Look at who represents us in the U.S. Congress. But it'll take all of us working our hearts out to make the difference and win the White House in November. But we have the candidate here today, believe me, who can do that. And now, to introduce the senator who you've come to hear, I'm proud to present our very own majority leader in the Nevada legislature, Teresa Benitez Thompson.
In America, but we've got some problems facing us right now, but I'm going to help you fix them. We got a problem. You didn't come here to see me. It's hot in here. You came here to see. Who'd you come here to see? I came here because I want to hear from a proven problem solver. And we're going to introduce her to the stage right now. I want a big Nevada welcome for Senator Klobuchar. Let's hear it for her.
Had a great day that day, and so I'm excited to be back in northern Nevada. We were just in Las Vegas last night, and I will tell you what I did there, which I'll never forget, is I somehow did the vote, which was very important, to rein in the president on Iran. I then got to Las Vegas, did an important event with the Hispanic community, and then I did our own town hall, which ended at about 2 a.m. Washington time. So we are just going to be here and be everywhere in your state, and I can't think of a better way to kick this off than in Reno. To the Assemblywoman, Teresa, and all the work that you're doing in the legislature. Unbelievable majority women legislature. And then Sarah Adler, who of course is a former USDA Nevada State Director, good friends of my friend who I installed, Colleen Landhammer, in Minnesota for the same job. And I will tell you, when I got to the Senate, I asked to be on the Agriculture Committee, in part because I wanted to focus on rural issues. issues. Because a lot of times people don't realize the rural poverty we have out there, that it's not just about the farm bill, it is also about economic issues in our rural communities. And I can tell you as president, I will have a specific focus on rural America, and that means rural Nevada. Here, the former Nevada State Senator, and I especially wanted to thank Steve George, the Boys and Girls Club here, for helping us set all this up. And we know we had to change the location. Thank you for that. I first want to wish you Happy Valentine's Day. What a better way to spend it than talking about issues, right? And politics. But I think it is on us to say one thing, since it's Valentine's Day. When I go around this country, when I meet with our fired up Democratic base, but also with independents and moderate Republicans, who by the way, are going to be a big part of this solution when you get into the fall. I find that they may not agree with everything we say on the debate stage. I don't agree with everything that's said on the debate stage, but what everyone does agree on is this, that this election is going to be, an economic check, we'll get to some of that, but it is also going to be a decency check on this. It is also, I've got roots of our Navy veterans standing right here, it is also going to be a patriotism check. One thing that unites a lot of people, and this is a Valentine's, that the heart of America is so much bigger than the heart of the guy in the White House. I think about this patriotism decency check. I think of some of the people out there, including in your own state, that maybe stayed home in 2016, although I will put a PS for Nevada. You guys were superstars, okay? You showed the country what it's like to paint a state blue. You showed them what it's like to win a critical Senate race in 2016 with my incredible friend, Catherine Cortez Masto. Had the wisdom to send not one but two women to the U.S. Senate. So then you look at what you did with the legislature, your new governor, and it's like seeing democracy in action. You elected these new people because people were sick and tired of what was going on. They fit the state, they got things done, and then look at what the results is. Better voting rights for this state, right? The legislature did something about gun safety in this state. The legislature did something about renewable energy. So I look at this model and all the great things that you did, Assemblywoman. I look at this model and I see how we could take it out to the rest of the country. Because when I went on this Blue Wall tour of the states in the middle of the country, which included Pennsylvania, where I met with carpenters, Michigan, dock workers, Wisconsin, dairy farmers, Ohio, our veterans, go over to Iowa, where I spent a lot of time. You guys are going to count the votes, right? Okay. Thought I'd just make sure. I know you know how to count things in Reno. Okay, so then you go from there. I went to, of course, my state where I spent a lot of time, where Hillary had the lowest percentage of any state that she won. And after talking to everyone there, I came up with a good plan that kind of fits Nevada. And that is, we are going to build a beautiful blue wall of Democratic votes around these states, and we're going to make Donald Trump pay for it. in this great country, I think about, that was a delayed reaction to that very funny joke, but thank you for that. That was really good. Okay, so when I think about this great country, I think about people. My first glimmer of this was actually a guy who was a cattle rancher in Minnesota, and he took me on a tour of his cattle ranch, something you know a little bit about, in northern Nevada, on this ATV, and we're dodging all these big cows, which I thought to myself, this is not how I want to die. And he went, and then we went into his house, and he looked at me and he said, you know, we voted for Trump. And I said, you mean you? What do you mean? Your family, the ranchers? He goes, no, I actually don't like to talk about myself, so I say we. And he says, so we did that, and because we were mad about health care. And he goes, but then I saw him in front of the wall, and I say, oh, the wall really has not been built. And he says, no. I mean the wall the day after the inauguration. He remembered when President Trump stood in front of the CIA wall, which is this sacred space that is devoted to those that lost their lives in the line of duty, and it's just a bunch of stars. They don't have their names on them because they were anonymous. And he picked that sacred place to give a political partisan speech about the size of his crowd. And that guy remembered that. Then he said, months and months later, he says the Boy Scout Jamboree. And he remembered when the president gave a political speech to a group of young people. And it turned out he was a Boy Scout. I explained to him how my husband was also a Boy Scout. My husband is one of 6 brothers, and actually his parents had 4 boys, and they wanted a girl. His mom got pregnant again, and they had identical twin boys. And they lived in a trailer home for my husband until he was in 6th grade with triple bunk beds. And they were really involved in Scouts. And 5 of the 6 boys actually became Eagle Scouts. But I never like to say which one didn't make it because I don't want to embarrass my husband. Campaigning in Virginia today, so he's not here. But anyway, this guy and I talked about that, and then he said he'll just never forget that moment. He said that was wrong when Trump gave that speech like that to young people at that occasion. He said that was wrong. And he said, for me, that was it. That was it. He went like that. That was it. What I did was not patriotic for me. That's what he said. Then I remember this long line of people in New Hampshire, in Conway, northern New Hampshire, and they're all having these stickers on that were sort of happy things. I'm a climate change voter, I'm a Supreme Court voter, I'm a reproductive rights voter, and I come on this guy and he doesn't have a sticker. I said, sir, you don't have a sticker. He's got this brown jacket, and he says, that's because I was a Trump voter, and we don't have a sticker, and these people are my neighbors and they don't know, so don't say anything. And then he goes, but I'm not doing it again. So I want to remember this, because you in this room, some of you may know exactly who I'm talking about, because it may be you, or you may know someone that you're going to talk to after this event is over, or in the coming months, about what this means for our country. I just sat through this impeachment trial, and it did not end as I thought it should end. We didn't get the witnesses, which 70% of Americans actually thought we should have at least the witnesses. And as the hours went on, I got so bleary-eyed it would go till midnight. I literally started to look at my colleagues and some of their hair, because we were talking about founding fathers. I thought, he looks like a founding father, actually. But the other thing I thought about was just what this means, this idea that this president put his private interests in front of our country's interests. And you think about that and what that means for our country. And you think, by the way, about the acts of courage when that vote happened. When my friend Doug Jones from the state of Alabama, in a really hard race, took that vote. Or you think about Mitt Romney. And then you think about how, as you are now going to be voters, voters, right? In this caucus, you're going to be going to your caucuses, you're going to be part of this, and you think about what all that meant to how you explain it to other people. And I think how you explain it is that it's part of this thing where he always puts himself first. That's what he thinks about. He doesn't think about other people. And as I sat in that impeachment hearing, I thought about that old story about Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The story that he was beloved in our country. He got us through a really hard economic time. And I think about that time when he died and they put his body on a train, and that train went from Georgia to Washington, D.C. And people spontaneously stood by the tracks to show their respects. And the story is this one guy was standing there and he had his hat in his hands and he was sobbing. And this reporter looked at him and he said, "Sir, did you know President Roosevelt? Do you mind me asking?" And the guy says, "No, I didn't know President Roosevelt, but he knew me." He knew me. That is what's missing right now in our country, this feeling of empathy, this idea that we have a president that can put himself in the shoes of other people in this country. So I can tell you this, if you are struggling right now between paying for child care for your kids and long-term care for your parents, I know you, and I will fight for you. And if you are trying to decide, do you fill your prescription or your refrigerator, I know you, and I will fight for you. That is so much of what's missing right now. And let me tell you my story. I'll tell you my story so you know how I got here and why I am that person. So my grandpa worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines up in northern